PSP Media's coverage of high school hockey on PSP. Brett Johnson joining me here on the pregame show, and we're actually going to turn things over to Rachel Olson, who's standing by with East Prairie head coach Lee Smith.
Rachel Olson here with PSB, and we're at Eden Prairie versus Benilde at Benilde's home rink. I'm here with Coach Lee Smith. Coach, after your big win against Wayzata, how is that momentum going to carry over to this hard Benilde team?
Well, it's a big rivalry game and it's a big sectional game, so the kids all know what Benilde brings, and they beat us earlier in the year at our place, so this is a vital game, and so our kids are ready to go.
So after warm-ups, like you said, it's a big game and the kids know it's a big game. What are you going to go in there to the locker room and say to them to get them pumped for the game?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just to play with confidence. You know, we have a very good hockey team, and when we're all going, we're tremendous and tough to stop. So the biggest thing is to go in there and play with a lot of passion.
Perfect. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
That was Coach Lee Smith from Eden Prairie.
All right, thank you very much, Rachel. Again, that's Rachel, who's going to be reporting between the benches for this evening's game. Pierre McGuire for NHL on NBC, if you're familiar with that. So really looking forward to that. It will provide some interesting insight into the game, being able to hear both benches throughout the night. So we will go ahead and get back to the pregame show here on PSB. In a few minutes, we should have Rachel speaking with Benilde-St. Margaret's head coach Ken Colley. Margaret speaking with Coach Colley. Just a couple of minutes. This is high school hockey on PSBMN.com. Test. 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 Testing. Testing. Test. 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Test, 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 test. Test.
It's time for another round of live, local, play-by-play coverage of Southwest Metro Sports on PSB Media.
Taken away by Spinner, potential shorthanded opportunity. Here comes Steven Spinner, the captain. Shot,
Great blocks in front of him, just waits for him to develop, breaks an arm tackle, and he'll dive for the end zone.
Watch the teamwork, tradition, and all-out competition unfold live on any streaming device.
Annie with it, gives off for Zulsdorf through traffic. Here's an opportunity, score! Oh boy.
PSB Media's coverage of tonight's game is brought to you by The Malt Store, Umbria Gourmet Pizzeria, Athlete PT, Noodles & Company of Eden Prairie, The Sun Current, The Tavern on 4 and 5, and in partnership with Minnesota Football Magazine, The Pioneer Press, and BEC TV.
and it drops! The game is over! Forest Lake wins 1-0 in the bottom of the 10th. Brett Gravel is the hero.
Catch all of the action all season long on your home for Southwest Metro Sports. PSB Media.
Brady Shue up from his defense. Will leave it for Graham. Graham works his way and scores in overtime. Michael Graham with the game.
Game time is coming up next.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the St. Louis Park Rec Center. We have a big Section 6.
Did you guys hear that Riley changed numbers? He's 8 is 28 now. Riley Augersinger is 28.
Got some inside information there from our sideline reporter Rachel Olson. Riley Augersinger going to try his luck with number 28 instead of number 8. Thank you, Rachel, for that information. We'll be checking in with her throughout the broadcast, interviewing both Ken Pauley and Lee Smith, the coaches of both of these teams, as well as also trying to get some information from between the benches, get you all the chatter that's happening down there. Again, my name is Brett Johnson, play-by-play for tonight's game. This game likely will decide who will be the number 1 seed in Section 6AA come playoff time. Eden Prairie will start off with their first line of Michael Graham, Mark Sullivan, and Brett Boldenau. Defenseman Nick Lieberman and Brady Shue as we're underway as Eden Prairie starts things off, passing it down to Brett Boldenau as they'll chase it down in the corner. For Benilde-St. Margaret's, that's Ben Newhouse, their standout defenseman, as he'll get that up ahead to Chase Jungles. That one's deflected up into the air as we have our first whistle of the night. Chase Jungles, one of the leading scorers for this Benilde-St. Margaret's team, coming in with 13 goals and 19 assists. Red Knights check in with a very good record of 12-7-2. Playing their first year in the Metro West Conference. Eden Prairie 13-8. They play in the Lake Conference, stepping out of conference play for tonight's game. Even though it's not official, you think the winner of this game likely will get that number 1 seed, as Wayzata and Minnetonka kind of fallen behind things in Section 6 in terms of that chase for that top seed. Play down in the Red Knight zone. Here come the Red Knights across center ice. Getting checked up into the boards is Carter Rue. 5 goals, 20 assists. Transfer from, I believe, Breck a couple of years ago. Working his way out to center is Mark Sullivan, the hard-working forward, converted defenseman. At the top of the circle, they'll feed it between the dots to Rocher, makes a blocker save, held in by the Red Knights as they're off on a change. At the top of the circle, they'll feed it right into the slot. There's a shot that goes wide from Zach Ristow. Played to the end wall, it's Brady Shue. Shue gets checked up into the boards. Casey Middlestad will gather it up for Eden Prairie. Middlestad with 40 points on the season. He and Michael Graham account for 38% of the team's offense. Middlestad gets tied up in the corner. That second group on the ice of Middlestad, Nolan Sullivan, Riley Augersinger. They've been playing well since Coach Lee Smith broke up that Middlestad-Graham line a couple of weeks ago in that Bloomington-Jefferson victory for the Eagles. Shue spins around and we'll get that to Noah Duraney. Sullivan fans on a clearing attempt. Duraney trying to clear it up along the near side. Now Sullivan's able to clear it out. And it'll be gathered up by Jack Lawton. Jack Lawton on the season ended a 24-game goal-scoring drought in Saturday's win for Benilde-St. Margaret's when they were able to knock off Chanhassen by a 6-0 score. Face-off will be in the Red Knight zone. 15-18 left here in the first period on PSB. Glad to have you with us for this big tilt here from the St. Louis Park Rec Center on a very snowy Thursday evening. And will be steered aside by the goaltender tonight for Benilde-St. Margaret's. That's Ryan Bischel. I'll tell you more about the goaltenders in just a moment. Benilde plays it back over to the left corner, trying to avoid some pressure. And I'll leave it towards the end wall. Ryan Bischel is the starting goaltender tonight for Benilde-St. Margaret. 6-5-2 on the season with a .281 goals against, .890 save percentage. Stopped 28 of 29 shots in the Red Knights' 2-1 victory over Eden Prairie. Back in December, he'll be opposed by the Eagles' Sean DeRocher. 9-6 on the year, 3.1 goals against, .896 save percentage, has 1 shutout. Also played very well against the Red Knights back in December, stopping 32 of 34 shots. 14.5 first period. Eagles with it from their own zone. Shue gets it to Mark Sullivan, feeds it across, and with a burst of speed, here comes Michael Graham as his shot whistles wide. Carry all the way back into the Eagles zone, and there's a turnover out in front, but fortunately for Eden Prairie, Chase Jungles wasn't able to get a clean stick on that one. Here's Newhouse from the defensive zone for the Red Knights. And that one was not touched into the zone, as it will be icing. If you'd like to connect with us throughout the broadcast, you can email us, announcers at psbmn.com, announcers at psbmn.com. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're cheering for, and maybe some predictions on the Section 6 AA playoffs coming up. Section 6 down a little bit last year, but it's as strong as ever. This might be the first year that all 7 teams in Section 6 are going to end the season with winning records. Oh, they tried to center it out in front to Argetsinger. It's still loose, and Benilde able to steer it away from trouble. They'll push it into the Eden Prairie zone. Shu and Newhouse battling it out. Benilde tried to center it out in front into the slot to Will Duda. Pass a little too much on it. Now Peter Heimbold passes it over towards the left wing side. That one glances off the skate of Riley Argetsinger. Here's Middlestad working around to check. Middlestad tried to pass, but a better defensive play there by Heimbold. Getting his belly on the ice and breaking up that centering pass. Nolan Sullivan trying to dig it out from that corner. And now it trickles out to neutral. Eden Prairie sends it right back in, and the referee says the Eagles did touch it, so it will be icing with 13:06 to go here in the first period. Looking at that victory by Benilde-St. Margaret's, which took place back on Friday, December 12th. Nolan Sullivan gave the Eagles a 1-goal lead with 29 seconds left in the second period, but Benilde-St. Margaret scored 2 goals in the final 3:48 of regulation, and that's what carried them to that 2-1 victory over Eden Prairie. At the time it broke up, it had been kind of a losing streak that the Red Knights had back in December. This is a team that got off to a slow start, but they've been one of the hotter teams here in Minnesota once we've gotten into January and now into February. Rocher to slow it down behind the cage. There's Louis Rail sending it over to Hugh Trumpy. Banked off the half wall and outside the zone. Takes a lucky bounce. Here comes Steen. Steen with a shot that gets steered away. Actually checked that it was Hastings. Now behind the net it's Cade Geekel. Cade Geekel, 47 goals and 92 points and 73 varsity points for Benilde-St. Margaret's. Snaring that out of the air is the goaltender tonight again, Ryan Bischel. I'd like to thank the Red Knights stats staff for providing us all sorts of great information. Almost NHL style with the types of numbers they give us. They even have face-off numbers for these guys. They do a great job here in St. Louis Park. There's Graham with a clean win off the draw. Had about 5 goals in December, did the Eagles, directly off face-off, but they've cooled off a little bit in that department as they face some tougher competition here in January and February. Shu pinching up. They tried to hit him on that pass off the wall, but the Red Knights broke it up. Now here's Lieberman, and that pass deflects off the skate of a Red Knight player. Now the Red Knights work their way into the zone. It's Mark Caskey, 29 points on the year with 12 goals and 17 assists. His centering pass was broken up. Argetsinger trying to work his way through a check. Around 3 Red Knights players fanned on that centering attempt, but good job still to work it in the zone. In the slot, Andy Aguilar's shot goes just wide, centered back in front. And now it's Eden Prairie still with possession. Back to Aguilar, top of the circle. They'll feed it back into the corner. 11:13 to go, first period, and that puck trickles out in front. Aguilar to play it right back in. Nolan Sullivan throwing his weight around there in the corner, along with Argetsinger. Second line's looked impressive so far for Eden Prairie in this contest. That'll go through the legs of Aguilar as Benilde-St. Margaret's is off on a change. Red Knights on the season. Decent first period team, outscoring their opponents 19-17. Eden Prairie's actually been outscored 19-18 in the first period. Second period's when the Eagles have done most of their damage, outscoring teams 34-19. Also follow us on Twitter throughout the broadcast at PSBMN. Again, that's at PSBMN here on Twitter. For the latest on Lake Conference hockey, as well as some basketball, wrestling updates as well. We streamed our first wrestling contest last week when Eden Prairie clinched the Lake Conference Championship, beating Minnetonka and Edina. Find an archive of that wrestling contest on psbmn.com. Holmers passes it over to the left side. They'll go back across. Makes a weird carom. And this is Hunter Johannes. Gives it up to number 19. That's Tyler Safran, who threw it in front just a moment ago. Pizon to dump into the zone. He goes down and he is shaken up. And now the question is going to be, will this be 2 or 5 on that penalty? As Pizon very slow to get up. We'll see if Rachel can eventually get a report on that down there, reporting between the benches. But fortunately, Pizon is back up on his own power. Very hard-working player. Can't be more than 5'5" or 5'6", but I always like his hustle playing down on those third and fourth lines. And still waiting for word on the scoreboard whether it will be a 2-minute or 5-minute penalty assessed to, I believe it's number 3, Jack Lawton, who delivered that hit. Referee still having a conversation with Benilde-St. Margaret's captain, Ben Newhouse, and it is going to be a 5-minute major assessed, so a golden opportunity here for Eden Prairie to get some early offense. Power play for the Eagles been very good, 33.8%. Oh, they cooled off a little bit since the Edina and the Wyzetta games. Aguilar feeds it weak side. They score! Casey Middlestad puts Eden Prairie up 1-0 on a great cross-ice pass. He scores on that short side, and immediately, just 4:39 into the penalty, Eden Prairie has scored first. Give you a look there at the replay. Middlestad's shot. It was Aguilar feeding it down. It was just below the dot. Middlestad scoring his 19th goal on the season. .438 remains on the 5-minute power play assessed, and of course, since this is a major penalty, Eden Prairie will stay on the power play. But Eden Prairie scores first this season. They have a 7-4 record. Benilde-St. Margaret's a good rally team. When they haven't scored first, they still have a very respectable 5-4 record. So, don't read too much into that first goal. There probably will be a lot more tonight with the offenses that both these squads have. There's a one-timer to Mark Sullivan. It was blocked out in front and now cleared away by Benilde-St. Margaret's. A little over 4 minutes left on the power play. On the power play, putting on the pressure. Pretty even until we had that power play, but it's kind of taking Benilde-St. Margaret's out of their offensive rhythm, having to play a lot of defense here during the second half of the first period. Sent back in by Nick Lieberman. Now cleared back out to center. This is Wesley Young up ahead to Michael Graham. Graham can't work it into the zone. He's jousting with Callendor. He'll dump it in as Benilde's off on a change. 3:53 to go, first period. Eden Prairie up 1-0 right here on PSB Media. Over to Brady Shue in the corner. Shue to Mark Sullivan. Overshot Brett Boldenau, as that will allow the Red Knights to gain possession. Now it's Newhouse. Over to Heimbold. And the Red Knights out through center. Able to get that over to Heimbold. He takes a shot into Rocher. Makes his first save in about 5 or 6 minutes. Nice job by him to stay sharp. Always tough on those goaltenders trying to make those saves when you haven't seen a shot in a long, long time. Thursday, we got another late conference tilt on the way here on PSB, as we'll have Minnetonka hosting Eden Prairie from the Pagel Activity Center in their big game with Section 6 implications on the line. Skippers beat Eden Prairie earlier this year 4-2 at the Community Center. Through traffic, Rocher sees it cleanly and is able to make the save. Bring in Pete Wagner, Bart Archer. They'll have the call of that game. Also be streamed on 105.7 The Ticket. Clean win by the Red Knights. They draw it back to Nick Austin. Austin into the corner to Jacob Holmers. Austin goes across. There's a shot from the point, and it's scooped up by Sean DeRocher. Rocher, a very strong game against Wayzata, stopping 26 of 27 shots, and kind of game he really needed after having some troubles against Edina in that 5-0 loss, and also Hopkins in the game before when he was actually pulled for Nick Weinseck. Another shot from the point as the Red Knights trying to get a forecheck established here in the waning minutes of the first period. Mark Sullivan leading the rush. He'll gain the blue line. Leaves it for Boldenau. Into the dot he goes. Takes a backhander. And now the goaltender out of position, but the stick of Mark Sullivan was tied up. He gets tackled to the ground, and that will allow Benilde-St. Margaret's to gain possession. And oh, there's a fancy little move by Zach Ristow to avoid the check, create some offense. Now we'll try to center it in front, but nobody home. A good defensive play there made by, I believe it was Brett Boldenau. Ristow trying to get that up ahead, as they'll dump it in. Andy Aguilar will gather it up behind the cage. 2:12 first period. 1-0 Eden Prairie on top of Benilde-St. Margaret's. Rue tried to feed that back door, but it was broken up by the defense. Now Nolan Sullivan finds Middlestead, gives it back to Sullivan. Top of the circle, gives up a big rebound, still loose in front, and a tremendous save by Ryan Bischel. Or no, they're saying it went in. I thought Bischel may have gotten his stick on that one. It's a goal, and Eden Prairie's up 2-0. Take a look here at the replay. Gave up a big rebound off that Nolan Sullivan shot. And they were able to get that rebound was Riley Argesinger, and it's 2-0 Eden Prairie. One of those things where you just put it on net. Good things can happen. Trying to see over my desktop computer. I thought Bischel had stopped that with his stick, but it was not in time, as it's 2-0 Eden Prairie. That second goal for set things now down to Rachel Olsen, standing by with Coach Lee Smith.
Rachel Olsen here with Coach Smith after the first period of play. Coach, with a 2-0 lead, what is it going to take your guys to keep up with that lead and keep this lead going?
The biggest thing is we just got to stay focused and continue to play well on our own end. They got a really explosive team, so we can't give them any opportunities.
Perfect. Thank you, Coach, and good luck in the second period.
Thank you.
Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie football and hockey on their big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food while watching your Eden Prairie Eagles at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean Pizza, Tavern Turkey Burger, as well as delicious breakfasts that are served 7 days a week. That's the Tavern on 4 and 5, just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
I wish it was spring.
Hello, Carl.
Whoa, who are you?
I'm the Mulch Store Genie.
Well, your entrance music makes you sound like an alien.
We Mulch Store Genies survive on grass and compost, not snow and ice.
If you're a genie, where's your lamp?
Mulch Store Genies live... Never mind you. Let's get to the point. You had a wish for me, Carl.
Yeah, I wished it would be spring.
Your wish is my command.
Sweet, this is much better. Wow, my lawn looks great too.
Indeed, Carl. That's the power of the Mulch Store genius.
Thanks.
Tell your friends of my mulching powers.
The Mulch Store, granting beautiful lawn and landscaping wishes since 2000. Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee.
I really loved this book. Me too. What was your favorite part? The beginning? The beginning was good. Did anyone actually read the book?
I really like this wine.
You don't need a book club to drink wine with friends. Great wine and globally inspired food at Noodles & Company, your world kitchen.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com.
Hey, look, it's the State Farm guy.
Yeah, and he's discount double checking.
Oh, Hans and Franz?
Surprise! Well, here's another surprise for you. Muzzle. Hear me now and believe me later. You pumped up our wallets with the discount double checking, so we want to repay the favor and palm you up.
Sorry, what?
Pull us, you flabby loser!
You'll thank us later.
That's right. Double check your diet.
Yeah. Roll your boat.
gently down the loser stream.
That's what I'm talking about.
Doesn't this hurt?
Not with those puny arms.
You don't just lift dumbbells, you drink them. No, come on.
That's right. Feel it.
Hello, muscles.
The whole thing?
Yeah, when you're finished, you can eat this up too. Congratulations, Aaron.
You earned the suit. It's a start.
Yeah, not bad.
Really?
Pump up your savings with a discount double check.
Nice block, Aaron.
Get to a better state. State Farm.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbeer's State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie, a local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbeer.com. Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing several PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie boys hockey on the big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food and watch the EP boys hockey team at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean pizza, the Tavern turkey burger, and my personal favorite, the cheesy tater tots. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5, located just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
During this break in the action, I'd like to thank you for watching and ask for your assistance. In addition to live streaming games like this one, PSB Media also produces video commercials for clients.
underway here in the second period as it's Eden Prairie out to a 2-0 lead here on the Benilde-St. Margaret's Red Knights. A couple of goals by Casey Middlestad, but here's a breakaway, and it hits the goal post immediately by Carter Rue. What a quick start here in this game. Get you a split-screen replay of that, man. I don't even have time to catch your breath. You see Rue wide open on that breakaway, but hit the goal post. In the meantime, there's a shot on goal from Eden Prairie. There's 29 seconds, all sorts of action. And thanks for tuning in here on PSB Media for broadcast of this evening's contest between Benilde and Eden Prairie. I think Section 6 seeding implications on the way. Red Knights would likely get the number 1 seed if they win tonight. Eden Prairie would certainly be in the driver's seat if they were to win, but they probably have to win 2 of their next 3 games after this if they were to hang on to beat the Red Knights tonight.
I might have to sneak over here if that's okay. Rachel Olsen here with PSB, and starting the second period, Eden Prairie just scored a goal, and it was supposed to be Casey Middlestad, number 11 for Eden Prairie, a 10th grader, and just a start to this second period. Both teams came out strong, and looks like Eden Prairie got the head start on this one. We'll see how it goes from here.
Yeah, that's going to be against the Red Knights, as it'll be Ben Newhouse heading to the box. Kind of a disastrous start so far for Benilde, trailing by 3 goals. This is the team that had come into this game winning 7 of their last 8 games. And of course they had that prior victory over Eden Prairie back in December, but now already trailing by 3, they're going to put this very good BP power play unit right back on the ice. The Eagles did score once on that 5-minute power play. They'll win the face-off, draw it back to Graham, who's playing at the point, finds Sullivan at the top of the circle. They'll feed it down low to Middlestad. Middlestad stick handles, Graham at the point. Graham left circle, Argetsinger gives it back to Graham. Now Middlestad fakes a shot, works his way into the slot, passes it down low. They go across, that pass got deflected. Now it'll be gathered up by Andy Aguilar. Through the skates, they try to get to the Middlestad. It's rung around, but not out. Middlestad still with control. Graham at the point fakes a slap shot. One-timer to Mark Sullivan. And right into the belly of the goaltender, Ryan Bishel. He makes the save as we get some pushing and shoving here after the whistle. With 1:27 to go on the power play. Good puck movement there by that first power play unit of Eden Prairie. Get you a look at that again. Middlestad finding Graham, and then they try that one-timer just above the dot to Mark Sullivan. And coming into the game, the power play for Eden Prairie just a hair under 34%. The Red Knights penalty kill unit currently sitting at 77.6%. And actually, we're going to get an Eden Prairie player that's in the penalty box. Although Eden Prairie still has 5 players on the ice, so someone's going to have to come off. Well, they're going to give, well, actually a Benilde player will get a penalty as well, so we'll remain 5-on-4. I think they just issued probably coincidental roughing calls with some of that pushing and shoving after the whistle, but we should remain 5-on-5. I'll see if we can send things down to Rachel to hear what exactly...
Brett.
Yeah, let's go ahead and send things down to Rachel and see if she knows what's going on. Rachel.
Rachel Olsen here, and we got a full house down here by the penalty house. We have 2 Benilde players and 1 Eden Prairie. Looks like the first penalty for Benilde was number 6, Ben Newhouse, 2 minutes for tripping. And then we have number 64, Mark Caskey, and number 6 for Eden Prairie, Andy Aguilar for roughing. So we got a full house on here. A lot of chatter down here with the refs and the scoreboard crew. So we'll see what the ice will be like. So far, it looks like it's going to be a 4-on-3, but stay tuned.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. It'll be a 5-on-4 or a 4-on-3. The referees are still trying to sort things out. Now they've switched the scoreboard again, just having 2 penalties up on the board. As they're still trying to sort this all through. Well, we have a moment. Let's go ahead and tell you about some of our sponsors for tonight's game. The Mulch Store has the best compost you'll find in the entire Midwest. Not too early to start making those springtime plans, and the Mulch Store has got you covered with that best compost. Check out mulchstoremn.com. They also have all sorts of locations throughout the metro that will open up this spring in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Shakopee, and Rosemount. Off the draw, it's Graham sending that across to Lieberman. Graham takes a shot, goes back to the circle to Mark Sullivan, and they score! Michael Graham gives Eden Prairie a 4-0 lead. Power play now, 2 for 2. It's a red-hot start here for Eden Prairie in a game that a lot of people thought would be a lot closer than it's been so far. Let's give you a look at that replay again. Just a blast there from Michael Graham. I'm not sure if that one's tipped. Let's see if we can get one more look at it. Safran may have gotten his stick on it. We'll wait for the official word. And while we have a moment, it looks like they're actually going to call a timeout, as I think Ken Pauley wants to get his team settled down. Now trailing by 4 goals. So, very interesting game so far, with that 4-goal lead by Eden Prairie. If you'd like to email us in the broadcast booth, we're at announcers@psbmn.com, announcers@psbmn.com. So Michael Graham will get credit with the goal, as you might be hearing the PA announcer saying there in the background. And Safran will get the assist, and now it looks like Benilde-St. Margaret's actually going to switch up their goaltenders. Bishel will come out, and they'll put in Jalen Long, who had seen the majority of their minutes last season. Looking at some numbers on Jalen Long, he actually made 46 saves against Eden Prairie back on January 21st of last season. He was also the starting goaltender in last year's Section 6 championship. Well, some of the goals, not necessarily the fault of Ryan Bishel, but sometimes as a coaching staff, you just want to switch the goaltenders to maybe get your team a little bit of a jolt, and I think that's what Coach Ken Pauley probably doing here, making that switch. There are still 2 players in the box, one for Benilde, one for Eden Prairie, but we are going to be 5-on-5 here at the St. Louis Park Rec Center. And off the draw, we'll see what the Red Knights can do as they win the face-off and get it back to Mayer. So he shot right back into the zone. Newhouse from the corner. Swing it over to Jacob Holmers, and we're going to get a penalty on the play, and this one is also going to be on the Red Knights. As things are kind of going from bad to worse from them, and they'll put Eden Prairie right back on the power play. Kind of one of those nights here for Benilde that teams will have throughout the season. Eden Prairie kind of had this type of game day before Christmas when they lost to Blaine 8-3. Off the draw, it's Graham at the point. Graham to Mark Sullivan. They'll play catch. Graham scored on that slap shot from the point on the last power play. Keep that puck moving. Here's Graham at the point. Graham, Middlestad, feeds it down low to Mark Sullivan. They try that pass out in front. It's loose, but Tyler Safran couldn't get his stick on that one as it's cleared away by the Red Knights with 1:30 to go on the power play. Graham to Middlestad with a burst of speed. Middlestad can't work around those two Benilde defenders. Clear it, but not out. Held in by Sullivan. Spinning around is Casey Middlestad, University of Minnesota recruit. They'll pass it back up to the Duluth recruit, Michael Graham. Graham, Sullivan, one-touch pass. Now in the corner, Middlestad. Back to Sullivan. Graham in the circle. There's Lieberman. And Jalen Long is able to make the save as we get some more pushing and shoving here. And the whistle with 13:06 to go in the second period. 54 seconds on the power play. 4-0. A big lead here for Eden Prairie. The Eagles come into the game averaging 3.86 goals per game. Benilde-St. Margaret's average is 3.62, but this is the most goals Benilde has given up since a 5-2 loss to Blaine a few weeks ago. And off the face-off, it's won by Benilde-St. Margaret's, as Austin unable to clear it away. Whether you're a weekend warrior or a professional athlete or somewhere in between, Athlete PT can get you performing at your peak level. They have a state-of-the-art facility located in the Golden Triangle in Eden Prairie. Dr. Grant Norland and Dr. Renee do a great job over there as championships begin in the weight room and with your off-season training. And they happen before you get out on the field. And Athlete PT can help you perform at peak level. AthletePTOnline.com, AthletePTOnline.com. Brady Shue walking near the point, passes it to the circle of the rail, and now a possible shorthanded opportunity as it's Carter Rue. And you think what kind of different game we might have had Carter Rue scored on that breakaway when it was a 3-0 lead for Eden Prairie just 13 seconds into the period. Rue with that golden opportunity on the breakaway, but he hit the goalpost. This score there, we might have an entirely different hockey game. 5 seconds remain on the power play as Benilde is able to clear it away, as they're now full strength. Thrown out in front, and there to cover it up will be Jalen Long. And some more temper starts flaring. No love lost between these two teams. They know each other very well. Met earlier this season, and they played 4 times last year. Very rarely do you see teams play 4 times in one season. In their meetings last year, St. Louis Park, that tournament. In December of 13, the Red Knights won that matchup, but then Eden Prairie won the 2 regular season matchups and the Section 6 championship to move to the state tournament. 2 have coincidental penalties that were assessed, so will remain 5-on-5. You get some history between these teams. They've had a lot of overtime and 1-goal games throughout the years. I'm just counting them in my head right now, looking at my sheet. 5 of their past 11 meetings have been decided by 1 goal, and 3 of those have gone to overtime. And they're actually going to give Benilde-St. Margaret's a power play. I think they might be giving an extra 2 to number 18, Carter Pattison, seeing some time up on the varsity squad. Cleared away by Eden Prairie as Jungles will gather it up behind the net. Rue sends it across, then a couple of Red Knights players collide with each other as it'll be dumped in. Now sling it around to number 19, Zach Ristow. Now Newhouse pushes it in. Caskey lost it. Give you some special teams numbers. Benilde-St. Margaret's power play uncharacteristically low this season with just an 18.8% conversion percentage. Like every year, they're up near 30 and 40%, but power play's been kind of a struggle so far this season for them. Eden Prairie's PK unit sitting at 79.7%. We talked about on our games that PK unit pretty much has been hovering in that upper 70s mark. Looks like Johannes will get tossed from the circle. And off the draw, it's along the end boards as it'll be Austin up to the point. They'll find Chase Jungles. Jungles to the right wing board to Newhouse. Tried to thread a tough airborne pass across, but Benilde couldn't gather it up. Now it's Newhouse being pressured by Hunter Johannes. They'll turn it over. Here's a shorthanded opportunity for Johannes. They'll throw it in front, but nobody there. Eden Prairie does have some shorthanded goals on the season. 4 of them on the year. 2 of them have been scored by Minnesota Duluth recruit Michael Graham. About 30 seconds left on the power play, and now we're going to get a whistle. And not sure if we're going to be getting anyone going to the box. Actually, it looks like it'll be Lieberman who's going to get a penalty for Eden Prairie, so chance here to get back in the game for Benilde with a 5-on-3 for about a half minute. Benilde will go with one of their better players. Holmer's in the face-off circle, but a very important face-off win by Eden Prairie as they clear it away. Under 20 to go on the 5-on-3. They'll send that into the corner where it's picked up by Andy Aguilar. Still tied up along the near side boards. And how about the job of the penalty killers there by Eden Prairie with just 3 players on the ice. They were able to tie it up in the boards. Now it's a 5-on-4 penalty for another minute 25. To the circle they go. There's a rebound given up by DeRocher, but they're able to hit it away to safety. Still tied up in the corner. Minute 8 to go on now the 5-on-4 power play. Red Knights try to get that across to Austin, but it was broken up by Graham. Now they try to outlet it to Graham off the wall. A little too far for him, as it'll be controlled by Heimbold. Passed over to the corner. 9:26 second period, 4-0 Eden Prairie on top of Benilde as it's dumped into the zone. Picked up by Louis Rail. Rail off the half wall, he's able to clear it away as it goes through the stick of Ben Newhouse. Slowed down by Jalen Long. Again, Long came in relief of Ryan Bishel, who started the game. Long does have good numbers, 6-2 with a 1.8 goals against, .917 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. Dumped in with 22 seconds on the power play. Wesley Young gets tied up in the corner. Middlestad trying to dig it out. Red Knight player gets tripped up. Now Young tied up in the corner. Carter Rue feed it up to the point. Now a one-timer across to number 6, Ben Newhouse, but a save made by Sean DeRocher with 2 seconds left on the power play. Looking at the upcoming schedule for Benilde-St. Margaret's, they have just 2 games left in their regular season. Host Chaska coming up on Thursday with a chance to clinch the Metro West Championship. And they'll close out their season with a home game against Wayzata on February 10th. Eden Prairie is now full strength as the Red Knights fail to convert on 30 seconds of 5-on-3 time. Now it's tied up along the end boards. Trying to joust for it. They'll get it away to the near side corner. Augie Moore to pick it up. It'll be shot right back into the zone by Aguilar. There's a hit into the wall. Still tied up, and now they go across to Brady Shue. Tipped up into the air. It's Peter Heimbold. Now to Moore. Augie Moore has won 99 of his 179 faceoffs on the year for a very good 55.3% winning percentage in the draw this season. Middlestad across the blue line. Had his teammate Johannes fall down. Now it's loose out in front as the rebound was given up by Long. That over to number 20, Horton. Now across the blue line, an easy ice level save made by the goaltender Sean DeRocher. Up to the point and not held in that kind of night here for Benilde. The pucks just aren't quite going their way. Louis Rail gets tied up now with Safran from behind the cage. Safran has Pizon. Oh, they tried to hit him on that breakaway. Pizon was able to get behind the Benilde defense but couldn't receive that puck cleanly. There's a bad pass across as Shue and Lieberman will have to reset. Flipped into the zone. Mark Sullivan from the corner. Gets hit into the boards by Lawton. Now pushed out of the zone. It will be sent back in by Eden Prairie, and they'll say Lawton played it with a high stick, so we'll have a face-off deep in the Benilde-St. Margaret zone. Randy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office has the discount double check. Shop and save with Brandy as she's locally involved in the Eden Prairie community. Whether it's auto, renters, home, she has you covered. Shop and save with Brandy Warmbier online at brandywarmbier.com. Her office located just a couple of blocks from Eden Prairie Center on Single Tree Lane. And off the draw, it's pushed towards the end wall now. Loose out in front, but swatted away by the Eden Prairie defense. Held in by Heimbold, but his shot was blocked by Pattison. Goes through the stick of Mark Caskey. They'll fire it right back into the zone where Jalen Long slows it down. Now turned over. Here's a breakaway from Mark Sullivan, and it goes just wide. 5:50, second period. 4-0 Eden Prairie with the lead. Spinning around will be Peter Heimbold. He'll outlet it to that right wing side, find Caskey. Here's Mark Caskey as he'll dump it in. Noah Deraney trying to fight through a check. They'll lose it, and now it's going to be Casey Middlestad, already with 2 goals tonight, looking for the hat trick as he'll zing a shot wide. Played over to Jungles. Jungles found Holmers. Lost it though, and now it's Riley Argetsinger. Jackie checked that. It's Noah Deraney. Getting used to that now with Deraney and number 38, and Argetsinger switching his number to 28 here in this game. Nolan Sullivan, Casey Middlestad trying to get it out there in front. He'll pick it up in a corner. Delayed penalty coming up on Benilde. One-timer to Wesley Young, and there goes the stick. And of course for the parents, a few more $100 down the drain, having to get a new stick now, as Pete Wagner brought up on our last broadcast. Those hockey sticks are not cheap. On the play though, it will be, it looks like number 18 Connor Mayer is going to head to the box, and Eden Prairie will get another power play opportunity. Power play's been good tonight already with those 2 goals, and they'll try to add more. Off the draw, that's Graham spinning around. Graham between the hashes, now to Mark Sullivan. Middlestad. And shot was sailing wide, but Long doesn't want to risk it as he scoops it up out of the air for a face-off with 1:46 to go on the power play. And off the draw, they'll get it back to Michael Graham. Mark Sullivan, the top of the circle, fake the shot. Short pass to Middlestad. They'll go back to Graham at the point. Graham feeds it down low. They'll give it to Middlestad. They try to thread the needle across to Aguilar, and now it's Benilde with a possible 3-on-2 shorthanded rush. The shot was broken up by Michael Graham. And now a possible rush for Eden Prairie. Here's Benilde-St, a 3-on-2. Gains the blue line, leaves it for Graham. Graham to the slot, then misfired on his pass back to Benilde-St in the corner. Tipped away from Eden Prairie, and here comes the Red Knights across center ice. 1-on-3 as Heimbold works his way into the zone, and he'll actually draw a penalty. So that'll do it here for the Eden Prairie man advantage. As will be Andy Aguilar heading to the box. Will be 4-on-4 for 56 seconds with 3:35 to go here in the second. 4-0 Eden Prairie with the lead. At the remaining schedule for Eden Prairie, they play at Minnetonka coming up on Thursday. We'll have coverage of that game at 7 o'clock here on PSB. Pete Wagner, Bart Archer will be along for the call, and on Thursday, the Eagles will host Hopkins. That's next Thursday, February 5th, before they close out the season against Edina on Valentine's Day at Braemar. Shoot a Safran as he'll push it into the zone. Benilde forces it out to center ice, but it'll be shot right back in by Nick Lieberman. Sent back in. Sullivan will try to pick it up in the corner. Austin's able to get control. Remember Johnny Austin, one of the better defensemen in the state last year for Benilde, who graduated. Other Nick still playing on the team. Here's Carter Rue across the blue line. Not sure if he was shooting or passing that one. Now there's a long shot turned away by Sean DeRocher. Around the end wall, another long shot from Chase Jungles gets deflected away. They'll fire it again, but it goes off the skate of Nolan Sullivan. Hastings will fire it into the zone, but Benilde is on a 3:45-second power play. Approaching the 2-minute mark here in the second period, and what's been a very surprising result so far with that 4-0 EP lead. There's Paskey across. DeRocher makes the save, and it will be not cleared out, referee says, and now Shue's able to get his shoe. Mark Sullivan gains the blue. His shot gets steered into the corner. Paskey from the left wing somehow was able to thread that across to Chase Jungles. Jungles tried to center it to the blue line, but nobody there. And the power play has expired. As we're back to 5-on-5. Haven't been able to say that very often here in the second period with a lot of penalties. Dumped in to Rainey to pick it up. Well, it's Boldenau ahead to Michael Graham. Good at the line. There's support from Deraney, trying to go high, glove side. You can hear that ping off the goalpost and then get deflected up into the netting. We're in the second period intermission. We'll get you some out-of-town scores from Follow the Puck. A lot of games taking place this evening, with a lot of section implications on the line. A lot of good races in a number of sections this year. 3AA, St. Thomas Academy to be the favorite. Cretin-Durham Hall having a good season. 4AA, you got Hill Murray, White Bear Lake battling it out. And of course here in 6, got to been Benilde and Eden Prairie battling for the number 1 seed. 1 minute to go here in the second period. It's across to Louis Rail as they'll fling it into the zone. Oh, what a great centering pass to Brett Boldenau. Loose still after the rebound, but he couldn't quite get that second opportunity. What a chance there for the Eagles to try to extend that lead 5-0. Look, if you look there at the split screen replay, they couldn't quite gather up that second opportunity. And we're back now to live action. With 22 seconds to go here in the second. Benilde-St tied up in the corner. There's an odd angle shot there from Mark Sullivan. Second
Almost ready, Brett? Coach Smith, with a 4-0 lead going into the third period, how hard is it going to be for your guys to not get too comfortable with this lead?
Well, again, like I said, after the first, they're a very explosive team, and we can't let them have any opportunities. So we'll just, again, focus on the defensive end and see if we make sure we take care of business down there and give them no silly power play opportunities.
Now, that period was great scoring for you guys, but it also led to a lot of penalties on both sides. What's your team going to do to not be in the box?
Well, we'll address that between periods here. You know, with a 4-0 lead, we just got to play smart, and we got to play with our heads and for each other. So we'll talk about that.
Thank you very much, and good luck in the third period.
We will go ahead and take a timeout to have more on the way. We're live from the St. Louis Park Rec Center after 2 periods. Eden Prairie's on top of Benilde-St. Margaret's by a 4-0 score.
I am never getting married. Never. Guaranteed.
You picked a beautiful ring.
Thank you. We're never having kids.
A little bit here.
We are never moving to the suburbs. We are never getting one of those. We're never having another kid.
I'm pregnant.
I'm never letting go.
For all the nevers in life, State Farm is there.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie, a local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbier.com. Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie football and hockey on their big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food while watching your Eden Prairie Eagles at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean Pizza, Tavern Turkey Burger, as well as delicious breakfasts that are served 7 days a week. That's the Tavern on 4 and 5, just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
Woohoo! This is the best dirt bath ever!
Larry, what's with all that racket?
I'm loving my new digs. This compost is amazing. Come on in, give it a try.
What are you talking about? Oh yeah, you weren't kidding, Larry. This stuff is great.
The Mulch Store has compost your garden, and yes, even the worms will love. Stop by any of the Mulch Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee to pick up the best compost in the Midwest. Online at mulchstoremn.com. Also shop rocks, seed, soil, edging, and more. Now's the time to make your neighbors green with envy.
Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee.
State Farm National Bureau of Assists agent Don Stockton has dished out more assists than anyone in history, just like his twin brother, NBA legend John Stockton. Heat, Rockets, Bucks, Pistons. Whatever you toss his way, he's beaten them all.
Don't worry, we got you covered. Thanks, Don.
The best assist is born from experience.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbeer's State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie. A local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbeer.com.
During this break in the action, I'd like to thank you for watching and ask for your assistance. In addition to live streaming games like this one, PSB Media also produces video commercials for clients. If someone you know is trying to grow their business, tell them to consider contacting production at psbmn.com. The internet is a powerful marketing tool, but due to its size, it can be difficult for messages to reach the right ears. Optimize their valuable time and money. PSB Video will help drive localized traffic to the client's website. Using keyword-driven content, PSB Video can improve where businesses appear in search results. Nearer to the top results means more clicks and more business. So please, tell those business owners you know to work smarter, not harder, by considering PSB Production. Find out more by emailing production@psbmn.com.
Stay current on what's going on in your local community. The Sun Current is a local community newspaper that serves several communities in the Southwest Metro, including Eden Prairie, Edina, and Bloomington. The Sun Current will keep you up to date with the latest comings and goings on your school board, city council, arts and entertainment, and community events. And make sure you check out their in-depth high school sports coverage featuring weekly articles on Eden Prairie, Edina, Jefferson, and Kennedy. From football and hockey to tennis and swimming, the Sun Current has your favorite team covered. Keep it local and visit the Sun Current website at current.mnsun.com.
I wish it was spring.
Hello, Carl. We mulch store genies survive on grass and compost, not snow and ice.
If you're a genie, where's your lamp?
Mulch store genies live. Never mind you. Let's get to the point. You had a wish for me, Carl.
Yeah, I wished it would be spring.
Your wish is my command.
Sweet! This is much better. Wow, my lawn looks great too.
Indeed, Carl. That's the power of the mulch store genius.
Thanks.
Tell your friends of my mulching powers.
The Mulch Store, granting beautiful lawn and landscaping wishes since 2000. Store locations in Burnsville, Minnetrista, Rosemount, and Shakopee.
I really loved this book. Me too. What was your favorite part? The beginning? The beginning was good. Did anyone actually read the book?
I really like this wine.
You don't need a book club to drink wine with friends. Great wine and globally inspired food at Noodles & Company, your world kitchen.
Down the loser stream.
That's what I'm talking about.
Doesn't this hurt?
Not with those puny arms.
You don't just lift dumbbells, you drink them. No, come on.
That's right. Feel it.
Hello, muscles.
The whole thing?
Yeah, when you're finished, you can eat this up too. Congratulations, Aaron.
You earned the suit. It's a start.
Yeah, not bad.
Really?
Pump up your savings with a discount double check.
Nice block, Aaron.
Get to a better state. State Farm.
Shop and save with Brandy Warmbeer State Farm Insurance Office in Eden Prairie, a local connection at a lower cost. BrandyWarmbeer.com. Great food and great sports. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5 in Eden Prairie. This season, the Tavern on 4 and 5 will be showing several PSB broadcasts of Eden Prairie boys hockey on the big screen TVs. So make it a night out. Get some great food and watch the EP boys hockey team at the Tavern on 4 and 5. Some of their classics include the Mediterranean pizza, the Tavern turkey burger, and my personal favorite, the cheesy tater tots. It's the Tavern on 4 and 5, located just blocks from Eden Prairie High School.
During this break in the action, I'd like to thank you for watching and ask for your assistance. In addition to live streaming games like this one, PSB Media also produces video commercials for clients. If someone you know is trying to grow their business, tell them to consider contacting production at PSBM.
Benilde-St. Margaret's will control. There's a long shot steered away by the netminder, Sean DeRocher for Eden Prairie, who again has had a good game despite not seeing a whole ton of shots in this game. Now turned over, an opportunity for Eden Prairie. Here's Mark Sullivan across the blue line. Sullivan stops on the doorstep. What a move he makes, and now some bodies go tumbling in front of the net, and I believe the referee says the net was off its moorings, so we will get a face-off. Well, Middlestad will be in the draw for Eden Prairie as it's one back to Argetsinger. Fans on that wrist shot now with a burst of speed. Here comes Chase Jungles trying to get some life, and it takes a lucky bounce back to Lawton, but DeRocher there in that butterfly position makes the save, thrown out in front now at the point. Another long shot along the ice level, trickles just wide, as the Red Knights now starting to up their pressure a little bit here in the third period. Lieberman delivers a hit near the EP bench. Now it's Carter Rue playing it back to the defense to Lawton. Lawton crosses the red line, then it was intercepted. Now here comes Argetsinger. Argetsinger will just push that up ahead as Eden Prairie goes off on a piecemeal change. Tipped into the zone as icing is waved off. Be gathered up by Wesley Young. Young, Aguilar. Try to center it in front, but Caskey fanned on that pass. We're able to flip it up and outside the zone. Now it's Wesley Young playing both forward and defense so far this season for this Eagles squad. Hastings along with Tyler Safran try to push that up ahead, but they get stonewalled. They're trying to jostle for position. Young, now Hugh Trumpy dumps it in. Will be picked up by number 18 Carter Pattison, who's seeing some time here up on the varsity squad for the Eagles. Played on the JV team last year and also a little bit this year as well. Sullivan shoots it right back into the zone where it's been gathered up by Benilde-St. Margaret's. Now it's up ahead to number 3 Lawton. Now there's a hit of the boards. They'll trickle towards the net. DeRocher will cover it up as we get a whistle with 13:46 to go here in the third period. Taking a look at the Section 6 AA standings, at least by QRF. Eden Prairie sits at number 4, Benilde-St. Margaret's number 2, Wayzata Minnetonka on their heels, but still a little bit of a distance between the number 2 and the number 3 and 4 spots. Holy Family sits in 5, Hopkins 6th, and the AC Wings are in 7th place, but all of those teams having good seasons. Even the AC Wings, who sometimes have struggled, have a winning record, so Section 6 should be very tough this year as that shot got deflected away. Now out on the doorstep trying to go to the backhand through the 5-hole, still loose out there in front, but the Red Knights aren't able to stuff it home. A lot more energy. There's a point-blank shot from number 20, Luke Horton, and he fired it just over the net. Give you a look at that opportunity again. A lot more fight that they're showing here in this third period, trying to get back in this one. Now from behind the net, they'll push it over to Brett Boldenau. He's able to backhand it outside the zone. And icing is going to be waved off by the official. Sure you stay tuned during the post-game show as we'll have our sideline reporter Rachel Olson speaking with our player of the game, which tonight looks to probably be either Casey Middlestad or Michael Graham, as both of those guys have combined to go for 3 goals for Eden Prairie. And that'll be coming up during the Sun Current post-game show. But still a ways to go from that as Red Knights playing much better here in the third period. Now it's Eden Prairie with some offensive zone time. Point-blank shot turned away by Jalen Law, and then makes another good save as it's whistled down with 12:18 to go here in the third period. Now look there at the replay at that last little flurry of offense. Jalen Law has done a nice job in relief. Since he replaced Ryan Bischel. Another opportunity, a slap shot now from Leslie Young as it trickles back out to the point. Thrown right back in by Lieberman. Sent around to Middlestad. I'll push it ahead to Caskey, Will Benilde. They have Jungles with him as well. Rue across the blue line. Rue's probably had the best game so far for Benilde. And again, going back to that very early second period chance when it was just 3-0. Rue had a breakaway just a few seconds into the period, and he hit the goal post, but if he scores that goal and makes it 3-1, we might have an entirely different hockey game. Well, overshoot Nolan Sullivan on that outlet as it will be icing against Eden Prairie. You can connect with us during the broadcast. Our email address is announcers@psbmn.com. Announcers@psbmn.com. You can also find that link just below your Game Tracker screen. Love to hear from you. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're cheering for. As we're coming out of the wire here in high school hockey, just a few weeks away from the start of the section playoffs. Tipped away from Saffron. Newhouse with a good defensive play there for the Red Knights. Pizon. And gets tied up into the corner by Gleekle. As they still try to dig it out. Referee letting them play through it. Along those far side boards as it trickles right back into the corner. Well, deja vu there as it's tied up again. Now it's Benilde-St. Margaret's into the offensive zone. And they try to fling it out in front to Zach Ristow. And getting a chuckle here as the whole Eden Prairie side of the ice was yelling at Benilde, saying they had 6 players on the ice, and they indeed did, but the referee didn't see it, so Benilde gets away with one. Shue banks it outside the zone. Now Gleekle will dump it in. It's picked up by Brady Shue for Eden Prairie. Shue will flutter it into the zone as we get a hard hit into the near side boards, and I believe we are going to get a penalty. And we had a word with the scorers table there, but looks like we will stay 5-on-5. 10:05 to go here in the third period. It's 4-0 Eden Prairie. Looking very impressive tonight as they should be in the driver's seat for the number 1 seed in Section 6AA. Off the face-off, a clean win to Holmers, but his shot was caromed into the corner. Eden Prairie with control. They're able to find Michael Graham. Graham stops at the top of the circle, feeds it to Shue between the dots, takes a shot. Now still loose out in front. A couple of bodies go tumbling into the corner. Red Knights with possession. They're able to get that up ahead to Holmers. And then bottled up by the EP defense. They'll shoot it down the ice as it will be icing with 9:23 to go here in the third period. 4-0 Eden Prairie with the lead right here on PSB. Noodles & Company now offers catering. Have any kind of corporate events or different family get-togethers? Make sure you use Noodles & Company. They have delicious options at your World Kitchen. That is Noodles & Company. Locations all over the metro area, and do make sure you take advantage of their catering service. Delicious stuff that they serve. I'm always partial to that Wisconsin mac and cheese. 9:21 to go, third period. Eden Prairie in the offensive zone. There's Argetsinger making a move around a couple defensemen. It'll bounce away to Lieberman. Now Middlestad from the corner. They try to send it back to the point, but it's intercepted. Now the Red Knights are 2-on-2. Now elected to just dump it into the zone. And it's Lieberman into the neutral zone. They'll send it across to Nolan Sullivan. Leaves it for Casey Middlestad, looking for that hat trick. But that fluttering puck is gloved out of the air by the goaltender Jalen Long, who again has been splitting some time here with Ryan Bischel between the pipes. Long, primarily the starting goaltender last season. Put up good numbers this year, 6-2 with a 1.8 goals against. As Ben Bichel seen a little bit more than 50% of the time so far. Bichel, again, did start this game before he was pulled by Ken Pauley after that fourth goal. There's an outlet to Chase Jungles across the blue line. They tried to find Lawton, but it deflected by the EP defense. Now it's Eden Prairie's Hugh Trumpy with a long shot. That goes wide. Third period about halfway over as we're down to 8:15. The bounce to Louis Rail at the point. He'll take a long shot. Just turned away. Now it trickles through the crease. Now a player gets tripped up on his way on the doorstep. And now into the netting it goes as he'll get a whistle. Twitter handle is at PSBMN. Make sure you give us a follow here on PSB. Tweeting about Lake Conference hockey as well as Bloomington Jefferson, Bloomington Kennedy, and a little bit of basketball as well. That will wrap up our basketball coverage. Week after next, we'll have 4 stretch run games for both the boys and the girls, with games involving Eden Prairie, Edina, and Hopkins. Bloomington Kennedy, believe, will get one of their girls' games as well, as a lot of section positioning will be on the line coming up during our basketball broadcasts. Will take place just after Valentine's Day here on PSB. This is Case Gleekle. It'll trickle towards the net, but again, they can't get the shot on goal. They've had some transition opportunities, but Eden Prairie's done a good job not giving them many grade A chances. Here's Gleekle. And he'll again get met by Brady Shue. Good job there by that defensive pair of Brady Shue and also Nick Lieberman. Face-off will be to the left of Sean DeRocher. Playing very well in that first matchup between EP and Benilde, stopping 32 of 34 shots. Again, the Red Knights won that matchup. There's a blast that goes wide. DeRocher out on his back. And now to the far side, it's Young in the corner, pushing it over to Nick Lieberman. Nolan Sullivan banks it off the wall and out. And talking about that December matchup, Eden Prairie had that 1-0 lead heading into the third period, but Benilde scored 2 goals in the final 3:48 to stun the Eagles in that matchup. But tonight's been all Eden Prairie. Shot into the zone where it's slowed down by DeRocher. Now Middlestad kicking it ahead with his skates. Passes it over to the right wing side to Argetsinger. His shot gets deflected as it'll bounce over the glass and out of play. See if we can get you some out-of-town scores here while we have a timeout here on the ice. There are some good matchups taking place. I believe just about everybody's in action tonight. A good, when I say 80 to 85% of the teams are playing. And getting a look at some scores. White Bear Lake on top of Parker Cottage Grove by a 2-0 score. Other scores, we have Elk River all over Totino Grace, 8-0. That one may be a bit of a surprise due to the margin. And another score, we have St. Thomas Academy up on Matamidi, 4-3. That matchup could decide the Metro East Championship. St. Thomas and Matamidi playing in that inaugural season of the Metro East Conference. Maybe the best matchup of the night between a couple of the East Side schools. Oh, what a great pass to Austin, but denied by... Now thrown back out in front, and where's the puck? Well, Pizon's got it. No one really knew what it was for a second. Let's go ahead and get you a look at that replay and that great opportunity just a moment ago by Benilde. You found Austin there on that pass, but just couldn't quite capitalize. It's And that kind of night here for Benilde, where the bounces just aren't quite going their way. And while you're watching that replay, Hunter Johannes was actually just assessed a penalty for Eden Prairie, so we'll put Benilde back on the power play. 0 for 3 tonight. They're having a very good chance back in the second period to try to get back in this game when they had 30 seconds of 5-on-3 time to work with, but they failed to score. And the face-off is won by Benilde. They'll walk it to the top of the circle, and that one's deflected out of play. Twitter handle at PSBMN. Oh, that's for all the latest on Lake Conference hockey. Should be a good race. In fact, that Lake Championship could be decided on Thursday when Edina visits Wyzetta. From the end wall, it's Benilde setting it up with a point. There's a slap shot from Jungles. Got deflected in front. Louis Rail able to get control. Good job to hold it in, though, by number 6 Ben Newhouse for the Red Knights. Now it's Kasky trying to work around a check of Louis Rail. Pushed over to Ristow. Now fed to the point of Jungles. Blocker saved by DeRocher. Odd angle shot from Ben Newhouse, and that one gets deflected in the belly of DeRocher for a save, and now we get some more pushing and shoving here after the whistle with 1:07 to go on the power play. Not quite the same physical kind of play we saw in the second period when we really had some tempers flaring. I think the coaches both had some words with their teams in the locker room saying, hey, let's
want to get it down here? Rachel here, and it's the middle of the third, and it just shows you right there how chippy it's getting down here. We have the penalty box filling up by the men down here, and just shows that it's the end of the period and what's happening down here and how the emotions are held high.
That there's been some language exchange between the players that we can't necessarily say on air, which can happen when you kind of get a lopsided game like this. We have 3 Eden Prairie players in the penalty box and this 1 Red Knight player. We'll have to sort this out and see what the power play will end up being if we have any. I imagine they're going to send at least 1 more Benilde player to the box than they do. Now we have 3 Eagles and 2 Red Knights in the penalty box. See the captains for each side talking to the official. Andy Aguilar, Michael Graham, 2 of the captains there for Eden Prairie talking to one of the referees. Guessing we're going to be getting some kind of roughing calls possibly. You like this, though, from the officials. You don't want to let things get out of hand here in the waning minutes of a lopsided game. Send the guys with the box get control of it and kind of say no more monkey business here in the final few minutes of the game. And a rundown of all of our sponsors bringing you coverage here of Eden Prairie hockey tonight. Mulch Store, again, with the best compost you'll find in the Midwest. You can find them online, mulchstoremn.com. Not too early to ever start making those springtime planning needs. Also have Athlete PT, and whether you're a professional athlete or just a weekend warrior or somewhere in between, they can get you in perfect condition to compete on the field or on the ice. AthletePTOnline.com. You can also use Noodles & Company for your catering service at any events you have coming up. All sorts of delicious options at Your World Kitchen. That's Noodles & Company. Sun Current as well. They're your community news leader for over 50 years with articles written about all sorts of events taking place in the Southwest Metro, whether it's school board news, city council, high school sports, or community events. That's the Sun Current. Tavern on 4 and 5. Delicious food that they serve 7 days a week. I want to make sure that bring up their breakfast menu, which gets sometimes overlooked. They have some delicious breakfast options. I had some waffles there a few weeks ago, and they use that homemade syrup, which not only tastes better than that store-bought stuff, it's also a lot better for you as well. That's the Tavern on 4 and 5, just blocks from Eden Prairie High School. And Randy Warmbier State Farm Insurance Office also brings you coverage of tonight's game as well. Shop and save with Brandy Warmbier, whether it's renters, auto insurance, or anything else. Brandy Warmbier, shop and save. BrandyWarmbier.com. Looks like we have things all sorted out, and I believe we're going to be 4 on 4. And indeed, that is the case. So we'll be 4 on 4 for a minute before Eden Prairie would then go on an abbreviated power play. An opportunity in front for Benilde, but they get denied. Nolan Sullivan's going to pick up either an interference or a holding call, as actually get him for a high stick. Either way, he's going to head to the box, as that will give Benilde-St. Margaret's a power play. Not a fun night if you're the scorekeeper down there. I don't know how many stopwatches you're running down there, but it's a party in the penalty box. 4 Eagles and 3 Red Knights in the box. Almost like watching a University of North Dakota hockey game over there. There was one game they had against the Gophers a number of years ago where they had like 6 guys in the box. So Benilde is on a power play for 40 seconds. Then we'll be 4 on 4 for about 30. And Eden Prairie would get a power play for a few seconds. Got that all straight in your head. Here's Jungles at the top of the circle. Now goes to the dot. His shot blocked. And now sent down the length of the ice by Brady Shue. It is a 4 on 3 power play for the Red Knights. One of the more rare things you'll sometimes see in hockey, the old 4 on 3 power play. Newhouse across the blue line. Tried to leave it for Carter Rue. Then it gets deflected outside the zone. It's Carter Rue across the blue line. Rue passes it over to the far side boards. There's a one-timer that'll go off the outside of the goal post by Connor Mayer. We're now 4 on 4 for 42 seconds. And now it's Nick Lieberman. Lieberman overshot Argetsinger on that pass. 3:21 to go here in regulation. 4-0 Eden Prairie on top of Benilde. Gaining the blue line is number 26, Will Duda. They'll shoot it right into the belly of goaltender Sean DeRocher. And coming up during the Sun Current post-game show, we'll have our own Rachel Olson speaking with the player of the game. A lot of candidates for that for the Eden Prairie side. Michael Graham, Casey Middlestad have combined for 3 goals. Sean DeRocher's had a very good game in net for Eden Prairie. Make sure you stick around for that, as the Sun Current post-game show, which will come your way in just about 3 minutes or so, barring some kind of miraculous comeback by Benilde. 10 more seconds of 4 on 4 action before Eden Prairie would go on a short power play for about 20 seconds. And that will actually happen right now, as Red Knights are actually full strength. Even I got that one confused. It's actually Benilde who's on the power play for 13 seconds. You can cut me a break when we got 7 guys in the penalty box, right? Now it's the Red Knights from their own zone, passing that over to the right wing side. And now Eden Prairie is full strength, and slowly but surely the penalty boxes are emptying. Just 4 guys in the box now. Here's Andy Aguilar tipping it out to center. Aguilar passes that over to the right side. He'll bank it off the half wall outside the zone. Lost his stick handle as it's taken over by Casey Middlestad. Middlestad avoids a check, and now Graham will backhand it towards the blue line. Tied up along the near side boards as it'll be dumped in. Icing waved off by the official. There's Noah Deraney. Deraney spinning around. Red Knights will throw that out in front. Oh, and there the player goes crashing into the net, and that's going to lead to some more tempers flaring anytime you get a player like that crashing into the net. As I'm sure the penalty boxes will again pile up in just a moment. Give you a look at that last play. Oh, yeah, that's something that will always draw the ire of the defensive team, as that was Luke Horton who went crashing into the net. Trying to crash the net, and looks like he had a little bit too much momentum there, among other things. And they're actually going to send a couple of Benilde players off the ice completely. Newhouse among them. Or actually, no, it was Heimbold. I didn't quite catch the other number, but yeah, the referee saying, we're not going to let this one get out of control, immediately giving 2 misconducts. And I think he has done about as good of a job as he can trying to keep this game in control. And we joke about all the penalties that are issued, but you got to do that sometimes when you have a game like this where things are getting chippy in the last few minutes of a lopsided contest. Now we almost get a huddle near the Eden Prairie net by, it looks like their third line down there. And we still have some conversations taking place over at the bench. See if we can maybe get Rachel Olson an update from down there to let us know. Things have gotten awfully dicey down there. Penalties galore here in the third period. It was funny because I made the comment, about 5 minutes ago, saying there hadn't been as many penalties in the third period as the second. Well, I may be wrong now, as they've piled up here over the last few minutes. Take a look at the upcoming schedules again. We'll have Eden Prairie versus Minnetonka coming up on Thursday from the Pagel Activity Center. It'll be a 7 o'clock puck drop. There'll be another big Section 6 and Lake Conference game. Eden Prairie then will host Hopkins on Thursday, February 12th for senior night, and then close out the season on Valentine's Day for an afternoon tilt against the Hornets over at Braemar Ice Arena. And looking at the Benilde schedule, they have 2 more games. They'll host Chaska on Thursday, then play at Wayzata coming up on February 10th. And getting some Michael Graham is actually in the box right now for 2 minutes, and then we actually have 5 minutes of penalty time on the board for Benilde-St. Margaret's. We did have some misconducts that were issued as well, as we're still trying to get things sorted out here in St. Louis Park. And I think we're actually ready to go back to live action. So Eden Prairie will be on a power play as they'll win the face-off back to Nick Lieberman. His shot turned away by Long. Now from the corner, Safran, Lieberman, over to Shue. They'll feed it back to Lieberman at the point. Takes a shot. Oh, and then they had a rebound chance, but it was turned away by Jalen Long. Flipped into the corner where it's picked up by Connor Mayer, as it'll be cleared down the length of the ice as we're under a minute to go here in the third period. Lieberman will thread it across to Hugh Trumpy as he'll push it into the zone. Now flung down the length of the ice again with 41 seconds. And Safran across the blue line. There's a shot right on to Jalen Long. We'll pass it over to Pizon at the top of the circle. Across to Shue. He takes a shot, now loose out in front. Rebound chance, they score. Brady Shue picks up his third goal on the season, and Eden Prairie takes a 5-0 lead. Now feel good there for the senior captain Brady Shue, who missed some games earlier this season with an injury. Able to gather up that rebound and get it past Jalen Long. First goal he's given up this evening. Eden Prairie will stay on the power play, as again that was a misconduct that was issued to a couple of Benilde players. 12 seconds in regulation. Here comes Andy Aguilar across the blue line. Aguilar leaves it for Hunter Johannes. Blocker save made by the goaltender Jalen Long. 2 seconds one, and that'll do it here from the St. Louis Park Rec Center, as it's a very impressive 5-0 victory for Eden Prairie as they put themselves in the driver's seat for the number 1 seed here in Section 6AA. We will go ahead and take a timeout and have the Sun Current post-game show on the way next. You're watching Lake Conference Hockey right here on PSBMN.com.
The Sun Current is proud to be your community news leader for over 50 years. Each week you can read their in-depth coverage on local government, school district news, high school sports matchups, community events, and newsmakers. The Sun Current's website is now mobile user-friendly and provides breaking local news coverage daily. Check it out at current.mnsun.com.
Welcome back here to the St. Louis Park Rec Center as this game has gone final with Eden Prairie knocking off the Red Knights by a score of 5-0. Sun Current brings the coverage here of post-game show. They've been the news leader for over 50 years here in the Southwest Metro. School board, city council, community events, high school sports.
Do you think Mozzie knew? Middle-St. Can I steal you for a sec? Perfect. We're just going to look right up there. I'm Rachel Olsen.
.mnsun.com.
Look right up there.
.mnsun. Like Rachel Olsen is standing by with one of the stars from tonight for Eden Prairie, Casey Middlestead. Let's turn things over to Rachel.
Rachel Olsen here with Middlestead, and Middlestead beating a team like this bad, a team that's in your section. How does that feel for you and your team?
Good. Ever since the loss versus Edina, we've kind of been rolling. Everybody's kind of found their role, and we're just trying to make a run at the title.
And you scored 2 goals tonight, half of your guys' points. So what does that mean for you as a player?
I guess I just try and go out, play my role, pump a few in, and see how it goes.
Thank you very much. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Rachel. And that's Casey Middlestead, who had a very nice night, scoring 2 goals here for Eden Prairie. Had one of those on the power play, so a nice effort from him as the Eagles are able to come away with that big victory and really put themselves in the driver's seat for the number 1 seed here in Section 6. That'll do it here from the St. Louis Park Rec Center. Again, I'd like to thank all of our sponsors, the Mulch Store, Athlete PT, also the Tavern on 4 and 5, Noodles and Company, and the Sun Current, among our others. Make sure you give all of them your support. For Brett Johnson, Rachel Olsen, and the rest of the crew, have a good night, and we'll see you coming up on Thursday.
Thanks for tuning in to live, local, play-by-play coverage of tonight's game. Catch all the action all season long on your home for Southwest Metro Sports, PSB Media. Tonight's game was brought to you by The Mulch Store, Umbria Gourmet Pizzeria, Athlete PT, Noodles and Company of Eden Prairie, The Sun Current, The Tavern on 4 and 5, and in partnership with Minnesota Football Magazine, the Pioneer Press, and BEC TV. You can find an archived broadcast of tonight's game available 24/7 on PSBMN.com.